The Indianapolis Colts dodged a massive bullet, and in fact, two bullets, as two of their star players went out Sunday with injury. But it does appear that we have some good news with both of those. We're going to cover all that and the current state of the QB1 battle for the Indianapolis Colts. What's going on? It's Elijah from Sports Talk Indy, where we cover all things Colts. And there was a scary sight yesterday in training camp as following the preseason game, Anthony Richardson comes back from injury as he dislocated his pinky. And there was a lot to be excited about. And yet, most fans and coaches and media personnel all walked away from Sunday's practice feeling very alarmed. And that has to do with Alec Pierce and Kenny Moore both exiting with what appeared to be pretty significant injuries. And now we don't have full updates on the state of those injuries or what those injuries are. We do have some good news for both of those guys. So first, we're going to talk about Alec Pierce. Again, we don't know the full state of his injury, but it does appear that he is going to be day-to-day with what they're labeling as a groin injury. Now, that's a massive, massive sigh of relief that the Colts have because Alec Pierce, obviously you want him to have the full extent of training camp and the preseason. So for him to be day-to-day, it does appear that he will be back sooner rather than later, which is awesome. This is good news. And the big one, which if you saw the injury live, it was Kenny Moore. Kenny Moore goes out with what could have been looked at as a season-ending knee injury. You see it so oftentimes, especially at the beginning of the season in training camp and just in preseason in general. You see so many guys go out as either conditioning or whatever it is. They don't seem to have the conditioning there to be able to sustain all the lateral motion that comes with especially being a defensive back. But again, from reports from Stephen Holder, Destin Adams, and various other Colts media personnel, it does appear that he is not going to miss significant time. This is exactly what the word for word is not a major injury, and the lack of a timeline is murky. And obviously, there's a lot to be concerned with. The Colts have already lost 3 DBs this offseason due to injuries, one of which is a season-ending injury. Before Justin Wally even gets a start in the NFL, he's going to be sidelined for the rest of the season with an ACL injury. Now, that comes as you see guys, both Juju Brents and Jalen Jones are also out currently dealing with significant injuries to the hamstrings. Both of them injured their hamstrings within like a week of each other. So this leaves a very depleted defensive back room. Leaves Kenny Moore, obviously now going to be missing some time. But then you also have Cameron Bynum, Jadavius Ward, Nick Cross. As far as the depth of the DB room, of cornerbacks especially, not a lot there. And that's cause for concern. Because one thing the Colts did do this offseason was they did a really good job bolstering that room, but they also did a really good job bolstering the defensive line. You get coming back from injury, Samson Ebukam. You have Leatu Latu in his second season. You've got Kwity Paye for one more year unless they lock him down to a long-term contract. But you also have guys like DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart. There's a lot to be excited about when you look at this Colts defensive line and really the defensive backfield as well. So it's concerning. And the last thing the Colts want to do is get into a situation of which you're forcing either Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson to have to throw. You don't want to get in a shootout with either of these guys. Whether you believe in the long-term playability of Anthony Richardson or you believe that Daniel Jones is the best option for this team, I'll cover that in second half of this video. But for now, we look at these guys, and you don't want them to get in a shootout. So this defense has got to continue to stay in it and to stay healthy because we're not going to win shootouts right now. We're going to have to nickel and dime, rely really hard on Jonathan Taylor and DJ Giddens and Tyler Warren as the Colts look to continue actually being able to be competitive or start actually being able to be competitive if we're being honest. So the sigh of relief is that Kenny Moore is not going to be out for the season, and nor is Alec Pierce. Even though if you looked at both of these injuries on Sunday at training camp, it did look as though there could be a pretty significant chance, especially with Moore, that we would lose him for the season. So this is a sigh of relief. But we're going to pivot over to the offense and where the current state of this quarterback battle is. Because we got word from Shane Steichen today that the Colts look to start Daniel Jones ahead of Thursday's matchup against the Green Bay Packers. with him playing at least 2 drives, maybe more, and then Anthony Richardson finishing out the first half, and then the starters will be in for the first several drives. We can assume probably 3 or 4. So Daniel Jones will likely get 3 drives with the offense, depending on the success of those drives, and Anthony Richardson will get several drives with the second string team. And you hope, obviously, that he is able to see success in that, especially as he was playing with a lot of second string offensive linemen. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely think the Colts were right in how they handled the situation on Thursday. I think they did everything that you can. Honestly, Anthony Richardson missed the read. There's no way to sugarcoat it or to flaunt it. You can say what you want about Anthony Richardson, but flat out, he missed the read. You saw Kurt Warner and Case Keenum, and several others, and Dan Orlovsky go into the defense of Shane Steichen and company, saying that Anthony Richardson was just flat out in the wrong. He didn't pick up the read, and you saw Daniel Jones actually do pretty well, given short notice in a game that he wasn't supposed to play any snaps. I think that bodes well for Daniel Jones, and current reports coming from the Indianapolis Colts camp is that Daniel Jones is now the leader in the battle of QB1. Adam Schefter reported today that the Colts are not willing yet to announce who specifically will be the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts going forward or into week 1, but that they're going to let this battle play out. Now, what we can assume is that after this weekend, we are going to probably, more than likely, get a final word on who is going to be QB1. And the reason I say that is that whoever you want to have at least 2 weeks before the start of the season to determine how the course of action is going to go, how this is going to go, how this is going to play out. And so it's reasonable to believe that after this week that we will have an answer on who is going to be the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, at least for what is heavily expected to be the first month of the season. First 4 weeks, again, starting with Miami Dolphins. This is going to be a big week for this quarterback battle. So you're going to want to be sure to like and subscribe and stick around, as we're going to cover everything that we can every single day to just know where exactly this is. But to recap, obviously, Colts dodged a massive bullet, and it does look like they should be expecting Jalen Jones and Juju Brents very soon with no clear return date, and then obviously Justin Wally out for the season. Samuel Womack, expect him to do really good things. Alex Johnson, Jonathan Edward, obviously the only other healthy corners on the roster so far. And I think Tre'Davious Ward, it's going to rely on him and his experience and where he's been at historically. So hopefully that this means that it's going to be a very, very short stint for Kenny Moore to be out. We hope to see him back on the field very soon. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one.